Welcome to the Workplace Minute, powered by H3HR Advisors and sponsored by WorkHuman. Thanks for joining me for a quick update on what's important in the world of work. My name is Steve Boese. Today in the Workplace Minute, I want to share some thoughts from this week's Oracle Applications Analyst Summit, what it means for enterprise technology, how we experience work, and even why AI chatbots and copilots feel like the latest awesome workplace tech. They may already be old news. Let's break it down. For the last 2 years, if you listen to almost any enterprise software company, almost every conversation about AI sounded the same. AI copilots, AI assistants, AI helping employees write emails faster, summarize their meetings, answer simple questions, look up basic employee data, or generate job descriptions. And to be fair, a lot of that has been genuinely useful. Generative AI has absolutely improved productivity for lots of workers. It's made common tasks faster and easier, lowered friction in day-to-day work, and helped many employees feel more confident, handling everything from communications to research to content creation. But here's the challenge. Copilots are only the beginning. They help people do work, but they don't fundamentally change how work gets done. They still assume that the human is driving the process and AI is sitting in a passenger seat just offering suggestions. And that's helpful, but not transformational. And that's where the next phase is already starting to emerge. The real shift is moving from AI that assists people to AI that actually executes work. And that move signals a bigger shift in enterprise technology, and one that the big players are all leaning into. That shift from, say, HR tech being a system of record to being a system of execution and a system of outcomes. That may sound like a small distinction, maybe a semantic one or just marketing speak, but it's actually pretty significant. Think about it this way. A co-pilot can help a recruiter write an email to a candidate. An agentic system can schedule the interview, check hiring manager availability, send out reminders, update the applicant tracking system, flag any compensation concerns, and escalate any exceptions in the process automatically. A co-pilot might help a payroll manager summarize recent compliance updates. An agentic system can identify a tax issue, trigger a workflow, route approvals, update appropriate records, and document an audit trail of these changes before the payroll manager even logs in. Those are not just productivity improvements. That's a completely different model of what enterprise software can do. So to understand where we might be going, it helps to quickly separate the three different waves of AI that sometimes get all mixed together. First, we have generative AI. That's the ChatGPT type layer that most of us know. It's useful for writing, summarizing, creating content, answering questions. It's very capable. It's highly visible. It's often the easiest for employees to understand because they can see it, they interact with it directly. Next, we have workflow AI. This is more operational AI. It helps automate repeatable processes like reviewing time cards, routing approvals, identifying policy violations, sending any follow-up communications, etc. It's a little bit less flashy, but it's often more valuable because it saves real operational time and reduces a lot of manual effort. And then we have agentic AI, and this is where things are starting to get really interesting. Agentic AI is not just answering a question or helping to complete a single task. It's working towards an outcome. It's not just help me with this form or approve this simple change request. It's tasked with producing outcomes like reduce turnover, improve staffing coverage, lower sourcing costs, or increase customer renewal rates. That means the AI is not just sitting there waiting for instructions. It's monitoring, reasoning, recommending actions, and in some cases taking those actions autonomously within the rules and the guardrails that the business sets up. That's the future, I think, of AI, and it's arriving much faster than most organizations perhaps realize. So I was at the Oracle Analyst session this week where Chris Leone, who leads AI agents, HCM, supply chain for Oracle, he made these points very directly. He said that traditional enterprise applications have spent decades, literally, as systems of record. They capture transactions, they record what's happened, but humans still carried most of the cognitive burden. People had to bring their judgment, create the follow-ups, create the context, make all the decisions. The future, Chris argued, is a system of outcomes, systems that don't just record the work, but help people move the work forward. And we think that framing is exactly on target. And honestly, this applies far beyond Oracle. This is the real strategic question for every major HR and enterprise technology provider right now. Who will become the system that runs work, not just the system that stores work? Because if AI agents are managing scheduling, reviewing time cards, resolving employee service requests, supporting managers, coordinating onboarding, and driving workforce planning, and more, then the center of gravity in enterprise software starts to shift. The value moves away from the screen and the data input. It moves towards orchestration and execution. And perhaps most importantly, it moves towards trust while delivering these desired outcomes. And trust matters here because businesses will only allow the AI to execute work if they trust the system. That means security, permissions, auditability, compliance, and governance become really important. And that's why systems of record like Oracle and, say, Paycom in the SMB market can have such an advantage. They already hold the permissions, the policies, the transactions, and the data needed to let the AI safely execute work. That's the strength of these platforms, not just a basic AI chatbot, the system of record itself. This is also why HR leaders should be careful when evaluating vendors. It probably would be unwise to make software decisions based only on who has a flashy AI demo. The real question is not, does this platform have AI? The real question is, can this platform safely and intelligently execute work on behalf of my organization? That's a much harder question, but ultimately the one that matters. Because copilots are helpful, but copilots are still built around the assumption that humans are still doing all or most of the work, and AI is just an assistant, just riding along in the passenger seat. Agentic systems challenge that assumption completely. They suggest that in many cases, AI may be driving, while humans focus more on oversight, exceptions, ethics, judgment, and setting strategy. That does not mean people disappear. It just means the nature of work changes. It means that leaders have to think differently about job design, management, accountability, and employee trust. And that is where the real opportunity and the real disruption sits. So yes, copilots were important. They are important. For many organizations, they remain that important first step in embracing AI. But eventually, copilots will become older news. The next era will be more about better AI assistance. It will be likely defined by systems that execute work. And for HR leaders, business leaders, and technology providers, the organizations that understand that shift first will be the ones best positioned for what comes next. Because the future of enterprise software is not helping people click buttons faster. It's helping the work happen without those clicks at all. If you want to dive into this topic even further, be sure to check out our recent full-length System of Record podcast with guest Chris Leone, where we dive into this conversation deeply about the future of enterprise technology. That's it for the show today, and a big thank you to WorkHuman for supporting the Workplace Minute. Be sure to subscribe to the HR Happy Hour Network on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Steve Boese, and this has been the Workplace Minute from H3 HR Advisors.